No! God, please, no! No! No!
Should we start live streaming these episodes? I don't even know.
Not yet. No, we will be starting as live streaming when we will have at least 100K people. I'm not live streaming for bougie. Anyhow, it's we millennials. We are back, people. Today episode. Well, no. First of all, I have to introduce myself again. So I am your hostess, Fatima, Black Widow, FK Alden. I have all the nickname. Maybe the angry black woman, the one with crazy color hair, all that. But it's okay. Anyhow. So today we have an interesting episode because I am learning a new term. We learn things every day about passport girl, but in my old time,
Passport bros.
Yeah,
bros.
Bros, whatever. In my old days, we used to call them male brides. So now there's passport bros, probably because of the Manosphere and all that. But anyhow, today, Abid and I will have a conversation about it. Let's see how that goes. I am choosing violence. I am hyped. Anyhow, Abid, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, this is Young Abid, aka the best part of the podcast, aka Young Chocolate Chip, aka I identify as a man, but I could be a woman if I change my mind. JKA, I'm just joking right now. AKA, please don't cancel me. AKA,
do you want to get in trouble with the non-binary people? They're nuts. I don't want that.
No, I don't. I love all people. I love non-binaries. I love binaries. I love library cards. I love. I don't know whatever. It's in binary.
You can identify as a pole. We're fine with it.
We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
Please don't cancel me. Anyways, just kidding. I love everybody. Anyways, what we went to talk about was there's a new term going around. You want to call it the Manosphere, the red pill, the best part of the internet. Yeah. So the term passport bros. And I feel like we've known this term for a while. We've known of this term. We've known the idea of it, but now people have put it into perspective. So I feel like we all know someone who sort of falls under this umbrella. So I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about it. So it's cruising down Urban Dictionary because that's where you get all your best information. Urban Dictionary officially defines this. This is a 2023 definition. A passport bro. Men who have chosen to seek out foreign women, typically from other countries, for relationships. They believe that Western women have been influenced by culture and societal pressures to behave in a certain way, and that by seeking out foreign women, they can find a more authentic, fulfilling, and harmonious relationship. This is seen as a way to restore the natural balance between feminine and masculine energy, and to avoid the wickedness of Western women.
Right.
I'm not gonna say I can see where they come from.
Weakness.
You don't think so? You don't see a little bit element of truth there?
No. The thing is, again, for that one is just because they're a stereotype that they have built in their mind about how women who are now westernized are so submissive, so then they can just be the alpha male that they're looking try to be, instead of grow some balls and be like able to also take accountability. That's the part that I think those guys are lacking, and that's why they're running away, thinking that the other woman will be more submissive. By the way, I'm an African woman, so what's
I know, but to be fair, you spend most of your time in France.
Even if I am westernized, I'm still an African woman. I know a lot of African women, and trust it, they make you believe that they're submissive. It's not everybody that will be submissive, because they are looking for someone who will not call them on their bullshit. That's where the problem also come from with them. They don't want a woman who will call them on their bullshit and just justifying that their behavior is okay. They want someone to validate that. That's why they're looking for those women coming from Africa, from Asia, because again, all that go with the stereotype that every woman of those places and those cultures are submissive. So that's where the problem come from too.
Well, I guess we could take it to another extent here when we're talking about this topic. If we're looking at the Western education system, we're looking at the values of Western society. Is it creating women who are marriage material?
Well, you have to define what you want to say about
marriage.
Are you talking about the traditional marriage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about since marriage is different from let's say our grandparents' ID perception than what it is today, right? So I guess if for a guy who's seeking, I don't know, a traditional house, with traditional values.
Yeah.
Do you think it's harder to find that now in the West than it was like, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago?
No, it's not. It's not that hard. It's just that how I would say, you also have to take a lot of component, because those guys, they want maybe values that existed like 50, 60 years ago, but they also have to take in account the economy of today. You cannot put yourself into that shoes and say that I want this traditional, meaning if you want to go to fully tradition, is the wife stay at home taking care of the house and the children if you have any, and the guy is the bread winner, right? But the problem is nowadays and right now we are in a full economic crisis where you cannot, if you can sustain your house with just one income, if you're one of the uber rich people, you can allow yourself like that. You create yourself your own problem by just stopping by like, yeah, I want this type of tradition, but after that, is that fulfilling? Those guys, I don't know. I have too much opinion, but hey, I'm an angry feminist.
I don't know. I've seen guys like that. I've seen them in my own family. It's I've seen guys who I personally know blame the end of their marriage because of feminism, and say that say if their wives weren't feminists, they probably would have worked out. But
again, it's not about because of feminism that it didn't work out. Look, those people that were that use we take example as kind of like idolizing them, the previous generation that have been married for years and years and years. Do you think that if these women had the opportunity to get out of this marriage, they wouldn't have done it? It's just because most of the time it's about control, oppressing the woman to remain into a marriage where she's miserable because financially she cannot. She is a homemaker. She doesn't have anything. If she leaves the marriage, she's losing also the money, right? So this is more about the fact that people who are getting mad at those situations is not because of becoming more feminist. It's just that those women are realizing that I'm not going to put up with this bullshit. My happiness is also important. In that approach, the men are quite selfish.
Would you agree that the role of a man from 50 years ago to now is different? Like if a guy was trying to get married today, he would have to do something different than what maybe his grandfather did in terms of a marriage.
Not always. And again, I don't want to generalize because it's not every man that want the traditional route. It's not every man that want the unconventional one. Some can still find the exact same model that their grandparents had. They can. Those women exist in our modern society, Western, that they're trying to run away from. But the thing is, a lot of those who are speaking up or like screaming that they want the traditional woman, they don't have the balls because that's why they're looking for something else where they can be dominant. It's not much about the value of the marriage, the consideration of the traditional marriage that they're looking for. They're just looking for a partner that they can dominate. It's just about power.
Yes, I could agree that some of the men do come up as insecure and all that. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is I've seen this argument from both sides, is that if a woman is naturally making a certain amount of money and she's becoming an equal partner to him, she's naturally probably going to put up with less than she would as if she was just a housewife and she needed to be there. If this guy is my only form of money and I need him to survive, I'm going to trap. So
in that case, you're not with the person because you love them. It's just because you need them. What is the point to be with someone that you depend on them financially instead of just like, I want to be with that person?
I don't know. I agree with you too. I agree with you. You should be there because you want to be there.
Yeah, not because you're stuck. Because that's the thing. It's just that those guys, they want to trap what they want as a trophy wife to show off that have to be also the cleaner. I'm sorry, your mama didn't give birth to you to have another one to just be your cleaner that you will have sex with. It's not her job to do all of this.
No, but I mean, like, the reality is right now, divorce rates are what, 70% here? So it's very easy to divorce in the West. Well, I can compare it to India, where there's much more traditional marriages and there's arranged marriage, but it comes with like a societal pressure. Okay, so the reason why divorce rates are lower there is because the marriage itself is tied to family honor.
Yeah,
And
that's the problem. It's also, this is, I'm sorry to interrupt you on that, but the thing is, it's cultural. It's not just the society. There's a culture where they will shame you if you have the audacity to divorce, because there's that pressure. You have to remain married because the honor of the family instead of your own happiness, your individuality is not taken care of in there. It's not just in India. It's also the same in a lot of country in Africa. You don't see people getting divorced and all that. They will wait until all their parents had died. The children are very grown. That's when they divorce.
but I think marriage itself requires you to give up your individuality, though, because you're coming
No,
together, right?
not at all.
Really?
Not at all. No, I don't think it does that, because the marriage is two complete people getting together. This is my interpretation. I'm not talking on behalf of any woman on this planet. Disclaimer here. It's just that, to me, how it goes is two full individual people will get together and have common sense and sentence that they want to go the same path, and they want to be in a relationship that is, for them, is a long term, because they see each other as the right partner, not because the other one will serve the other more than anything.
Do you agree that you give up a certain level of your freedom, obviously, when you're married, that you would if you had before you were married?
But what would be the thing that you give up then?
I mean, from let's say marriage to just a regular boyfriend and girlfriend.
Mm.
As far as you're joined together, you give up your individuality. By definition, a lot of women have to give up their name, so you're attached to this person. You're more you have to be accountable to that person. If you're living with that person, that person has a right to know where you are. So I mean, it's not like you could just hang out with your boys all the time if you're a guy, and while your wife is at home, and expect the marriage to go smoothly. So naturally, you have to give up a certain part of yourself in order to make the marriage work, don't you? Like there has to be sacrifice in it.
Yeah, there have to be sacrifice, yeah, but it doesn't mean that you have to also cut yourself off living just
No,
for
but
one partner.
I think
No, because what I mean by that is just that when you were saying the part with the name, for example, nowadays they have changed a lot of laws where you don't have to take the man's name. It's up to you. You're the one choosing to do that. And also, by the way, when people saying that, yeah, the woman is giving up her name to be with the guy, when she accepts to marry the guy, he proposed, she can still say no. She say yes. So it means that she's willing to take his name. It's not that she's losing anything. She's the one saying that I am taking that because I want to.
I know, but at the same time, I mean, it'd be foolish to say, okay, I'm giving up. I don't have to give up anything when I get married. Like, do you have to? There has to be a compromise and a sacrifice.
A compromise, that's the word. Yeah, a compromise. I agree. That one have to come in point. But seriously, do you think that I will be the type of like stopping you to go hang out with your bros? No, it's okay.
I know, but if a guy is
again,
always doing it, well, let's say there's something you really want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I know you want to hang out with your friends, but I really need you to do this.
Yeah.
If you're married, right, you'll say, okay, maybe there's a part of me that wants to hang out with my friends, but I'm going to say, for the sake of my marriage, I'm going to put my wife or my partner above.
Yeah, but what you just to compare here doesn't make sense, because if he was this kind of like, yeah, he'd rather just spend time with his friend than you, that would be a problem. But what you're talking about is just that she's asking you to do something, and he had to probably say that, yeah, he wants to hang out with his friend. What does that have to do with what she asked you to do? She doesn't ask you to don't go hang out with them, stay just with me. That's where it will be an issue. But if it was like, oh, can you if you have the time, can you fix this? Or maybe the way that will be come out and say, oh, there's this thing that I want you to do, can you do that? He say, yeah, but he go hang out with his friend because he didn't have, he maybe forgot or anything, but he would do that another time. What are you losing in there? Nothing.
There's still a sacrifice, because I can't hang out with my friends whenever I want. Like, when you're single, you literally have no one else telling you what to do.
But you have yourself telling you what to do.
Yeah, but it's you who's doing it. It's not someone else. You have to think of someone else's feelings. That in itself involves sacrifice.
Well, if I want to hang out with my friends, I also have to consider their feelings. Do they want to hang out with me? Maybe they have other things planned in their mind. And I'm talking about the one who also single. everything doesn't have to revolve around just you or also the other person feeling. Yes, you say that when you're single, you don't have anybody to tell you what to do. But in that case, you don't tell yourself to do anything either. You still have to take account to your own.
No, but you're inevitably thinking about someone else's viewpoint when you make decisions. Like, even it could be basic stuff, like when I'm going out and buying furniture, I can't just buy the chair I want. I have to think, okay,
Because you have shitty taste, that's different.
I know I'm using that as an example. I don't trust my furniture taste, by the way. I already know.
You don't trust it that you have bad taste in general. Sometimes your clothing can be something else. But
I'm a fashionable guy, I'll tell you. I just don't. I'm not fashionable today. But trust me, I know how to dress.
I know that you know how to dress. No, for that part, I don't disagree. But the only part is just that it's your hair, my problem. But we are not in that.
I need to shout out to Rogaine, shout out to hair transplants, shout out to going to Turkey. You know, my plan is I have it planned out. You can get a nice hair transplant for Turkey for $5,000. Fly there.
Yes, yeah. Go do
very,
that.
Very good investment.
After that, you're gonna have your scalp exposed for no damn reason.
Yeah, I know. Like it's just not good. It's not.
It's just the way you put the hair, just very Nazi.
Well, what else am I supposed to do? You know, at the end of the day,
just shave it.
I'm not gonna then that's giving out. That's called defeat.
That's not defeat. It's just embrace your boldness. Shave it. It makes men look sexy. There's a lot of sexy bald men.
Okay, then admit Andrew Tate is sexy.
I say like there's sexy men out there. I didn't say his name. So chill. Anyhow, the passport bro, Mel bro, what is the name of those guys?
Passport bros.
Yeah, those guys. So I would say that for me, what they're doing, those are the guys that I would say their approach to life and relationship is very much like cowardly and controlling. It's not something out of respect. They don't want a woman that will have too much opinion that will speak up to them. That's how it sounds like, because they're looking for women who will be falling into what they call a traditional role. But what is really a traditional role? We don't really know what's going on in every household. And we are talking about this as a straight perspective. We are not talking about the gay, trans, all this kind of thing.
Well, I mean, by definition, a trans or gay, I don't want to be stereotyping, but that's not really filled within the realm of traditional roles by definition.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's just that what you're talking about traditional, what is traditional to you can be different to me. Like what is traditional to some people in Western Africa where polygamy is normal, that's tradition, and you come and you just say monogamous is not tradition to them. So when you go with the definition of what is tradition, it's probably what you see of what was popular in the 50s, what they were showing the husband, the wife in her apron, and the 2.5 kids, and a suburb house with the picket fence, whatever. If that's the tradition that they are going to, boy, good luck, because nowadays with the globalization, it will be very difficult for you to find a woman that is going to fit that role or that mold. Because why she will be willing to go with you? Because you're giving her a door for a better opportunity. Because as soon as she get that passport and they give them here in Canada a permanent residency, deuces, she's out.
No, you don't think some women naturally want to be housewives? Or
I told you that the other time. I have a close friend that she wants to be a housewife. She wants that. And she also has spent most of the time in the Western Canadian country, all the education. And she wants to have that very much a housewife role. That's her thing. Even when I was a kid, and I can be very honest with you with that, even when I was a kid, before even living in France and all that, I never saw myself into those roles. The type of role that they say that, yeah, housewife, taking care of the kids and all that, and cook. Even though I was raised to be a wife. This is the thing that I always explain to people that I know and around me. I was raised to be someone's wife. I learned how to cook when I was 5 years old. I learned how to take care of children at a very, very young age because I was born a female. With that, I was already trained to meet that specific role that I had to fill later in life, but I was not like happy about it. I was raised to be a housewife. taking care of all this shit. But I'm not.
Okay, let me ask you something. I just out of curiosity, do you think it's fair, like modern day marriage, for a man to expect a woman to clean and cook and all those things that?
No.
So what about the guys who want that?
You don't raise okay, I'm sorry, but your mom was not your servant. This is me talking to those guys. Your mom was not your cleaning lady. She was not just there for that. She's your mom. And your wife, her role is not just stopping at cleaning and maintaining your house and make sure that you eat. It's not just that. It's not okay to expect to someone that, the basic human base. Before you got married, how you handle yourself. Your house is a shit show. It's like a garbage can everywhere. So if an adult man, a grown-ass man, want to be that, so in that case, let's just slap a fucking diaper on his ass and I treat him like a baby. Because basically that's what they're looking for. Those guys, that's what they're looking for. They want to pretend that, oh yeah, if she can cook or clean, I don't want it. People got mad when Cardi B said that in her song, wet ass pussy, and say, I don't cook, I don't clean. And guys got mad, oh my gosh, he don't cook. And wonder why this happened. So what? Why that expectation have to also be gender based? Like a lot of people get mad at that with the gender and stuff. Why always have to be expected to the woman? I don't expect a dude to know how to change a freaking tire.
Yeah, but I think most women expect the guy to know how to change a tire.
No, I don't. I don't.
I feel like the average woman, if you're a guy and you tell them, yeah, I don't know.
Nowadays, the average woman does not expect much for a man to do.
No, but would she expect a man to be in a leadership role, like to assert in the household? Do women want a guy who can lead or like take charge when the situation is bad?
It depends what is her background, what is her culture, and also the value that her parent gave to them. For me, I would say I will go with the example. Remember one time Steve Harvey wrote a book, right? Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man.
Yeah, what's that book about? I didn't want to read it.
So that one, I read it and I bought that book because I was stupid at the time, because I thought that, yeah, that's what men really want, which is natural. That the man in the house is the head. The woman, yeah, he's the head of the house. That's how it goes. They just go like a human part. But you know what? There's another legend said the man is maybe the head, but the woman is the neck. How would you be able to have your head go to a certain direction if there's no neck to direct the body to go somewhere? So with all that, I don't know. I would not be brutal with the traditional role and all that, man and woman, because again, people expect that someone who was like me, they define herself as a feminist, would be, well, I want to be fully equal with my husband and this and that and that and that at the household. No, me, I am still very traditional on something. My kitchen is my fucking kitchen. I don't want you to go there. I cook. I'm the one do the cooking. I don't
100% of the cooking?
I would say 95%.
Well, do you think the bill should be split 50-50?
It depends what is your arrangement with your partner. It's just because I cannot say a very much like generic opinion, because mine is very much like on solidarity, or the fact that I am very independent, so I cannot say that. To me, in a relationship, if it's like equally the same, yes, you can go 50-50. I don't care if the woman said, yeah, but it's the man role for this and that. It's also like going on date. Whoever offered to go to the date is the one who paying. I don't give a shit if it's the dude or the woman. If you're the girl and say, oh, let's go on a date, you pay. Bitch, you pay. If he insists, okay, cool. But if he does a 50-50, pay. Stop with that bullshit of like, oh yeah, you want to pretend to be a super independent, but when it comes to this kind of role, those kind of thing, when you go on a date, you refuse. Oh hell no. And I know I'm not talking on behalf of all the women on this planet. It's just that's the part that I need to get out of my chest for a long time. I got very frustrated with that.
No, I get it. I mean, there are a lot of women with your view. There's a lot of women who are a bit more traditional. I mean, if you're talking about just purely from religion, I'm a more religious guy. It does say the man has a duty and his duty is to provide. So I said, the way I look at it is I wouldn't force my wife to not stay at home. She wants to work. She wants to work. She wants to contribute, obviously contribute. But if she doesn't want to pay 50-50, I mean, it's her right to not pay 50-50.
That's the thing. It's also, see, your approach is more respectable because you are respecting what is her approach, what she's desiring. And I think that a lot of time, over the time and centuries, people are kind of like lost the focus that you guys, men, are not just there to do the I am the strong guy, I have to protect all the time, because we no longer in the caveman era. And the thing is, we still have a hard time even to define what will be your role. And of course, the example that you just took is what is going on between you and your partner, what both of you want. It's not just you put that on her. It's not you being like, I'm going to fly to India, go to a small tiny ass village and find the most submissive girl there, marry her, and then that's it. That's the part that I have a problem with those passport guys.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of it is insecurity. I mean, I have friends. I can use an example of it. Like, I've had friends that they'll be like, "Oh, I want to go with this woman." Then as soon as they see that she's driving a better car than them, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not interested." I'm like, "What difference did that woman change just because she has?"
Exactly, that's the thing. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't even matter. The thing is, you can see those women; they would not care as long that the guy have an honest job. As long that he have an honest job and he is faithful to her, he can be making less than her and she will still love him more than anything.
I think that people talk about is they say that there's a fear of hypergamy. What hypergamy is there's a fear that when women earn a certain amount of money and the guy is not up to her same level, she innately loses respect for him.
It's not true. I'm sorry. If I am with someone that he's a hard worker and I still make more money than him, I'm not losing any respect for him. I will just still see him as someone very respectful, and he's still dutiful because he still meet those requirements that a lot of women looking for. He's protective. He's a provider. Even though his contribution is not as big as her, he's still a provider. And I think that with now and the internet era that we are living in, people are just too focused on the superficial. They're not focusing onto what is the relationship about. They're not focusing onto the real thing. They're just focusing on what they see, how it looks like. That's why Mendoza and what is his face? Foot and Fetish. Those two guys.
Myron.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah. That guy. When they talk about those kind of things, it's just on the surface level. It's not that deep what they're talking about.
Well, the thing is, Fresh and Fit. I shout out to Fresh and Fit, by the way.
No, not shout out to them. Fuck that shit. I don't want that. No.
I mean, I'll say they have an approach, and I know why they do their approach because they know it'll get views. But it's a formula.
It's about formula because what it does, it just feed the younger generation of men with bad information and bad influence. Because all they do is just to say that you shouldn't treat a woman with respect. You should just treat them like shit. It's not okay. That's not how you build a relationship. They always take example of like the last time that we talked, you and I, when we were talking about value and stuff, they always targeted those who are in the early 20s where, of course, material things is important, but not building an actual relationship, because every time the argument is about they're just looking for a guy with the money, just the guy with the money. No, it's about building the relationship. If it was the case, do you think that girls will be in relationship when they're in high school? The guy doesn't have a fucking job, for God's sake. He live with his parents, but it's still a boyfriend.
I know, but it depends on what you define as a real relationship. Some would say that the only real relationship is ones that involve marriage, because then the guy is actually obligated to provide for you.
No, not true. Relationships start when you're dating. It starts when you're dating. That's how you build a relationship. Because what would be the point? Yeah, you just like to smoosh someone that you don't give a shit about? No, they provide to you in a different way. It's not always monetary.
I guess some people say that, the only real tradition. Some people say unless it's a marriage, it's not a real relationship. I've heard that argument before.
Yeah, well, those people are very especially weird. Are you one of them?
I wouldn't. I would say that the marriage is the only relationship with actual value. But a lot of people, you date. Some people date in order to find the right person.
Yeah.
But in terms of it, like, I definitely think that you can't say that your boyfriend and girlfriend has the same value as if the title of husband and wife and the title of husband and wife have a meaning that boyfriend and girlfriend do not.
No, it doesn't have the same value. Yes, I agree, but it's still something that is valuable to them. So if they find that fine, it works for them, that they don't want to be husband and wife, it's a title that works for them, it's fine. But yeah, it would not be equal to husband and wife. That's for sure. It would not be equal to that. But also we have to understand and respect the fact that the person, as I would talk into your terms a bit, they also invest their time into that relationship without being husband and wife.
I sort of look at it like when you're filling out your tax forms, if you're not married to somebody and they ask you, are you single or married? You have to write single.
This guy's talking about tax right now. I love it.
Even if you've been dating for 8 years, you still have to write I'm single. Unless you're living.
You can put common law.
If you're living together. If you're not living together, you can't.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you have to live together at least 3 years. There you go. We are teaching you stuff here, people.
Yeah, so that's what I.
So that's Canada,
so it's that, but it's that thing. It's just it has to hold value. The title holds value. The ring itself.
It's just because for marriage, when it comes from, it's just because historically speaking, we made that have a value. That's why. That's why it get to a point that we're putting marriage and stuff in the high standard, and the rest is just like, nah, that's bullshit.
But do you agree? Like, let's say you're meeting your friend for the first time, and she's like, she comes to you and said, "This is my husband," or another person comes to you and says, "This is my boyfriend."
Yeah.
Do you think that you perceive the person differently based off the title that's associated to them?
No.
I would say to a certain extent I do, because if you're introducing to me as your husband, then it means that you've selected him to be
your mate,
contractually obligated to him, and it holds more value than him just being your boyfriend.
I just love it. You're contractually obligated.
To a certain extent, isn't it not? It holds the name. You could get a certain level of respect to a certain extent. If someone tells you, why does every woman want to be a wifey? Because a wifey is not a side thing.
Yeah, I know that being a wife, have a sort of like, that entitlement that you just mentioned, but it's not for that I would disrespect someone that they have been in a relationship for a long time and they're not married. I will still approach them the same way. I will still give the same respect. And when you say, this is my boyfriend of 8 years, okay, I'll respect that. This is my husband of 2 months. I will respect you the same way. I would not give the husband more value than the boyfriend.
But if you met somebody and they said, this is my boyfriend of 18 years, when you say, what?
I'll be like, wow, okay. 18 years?
You wouldn't say, why didn't you get married? There wouldn't be something in your head.
It used to be my thing to ask that, but now it's just like, to each their own. I don't give a shit. Your life is your life. Don't come for my business. Because if you ask that to them, 18 years while you're not married, is you putting your perception and your value onto them to pressure them to meet your standards, which is not okay.
I don't know. For me personally, I don't even like to use the term girlfriend or boy. I just feel personally that title doesn't hold that much value. It doesn't hold the same value that husband and wife do.
Yeah, because you believe into that marriage is sacred. To you, marriage is sacred. For others, it doesn't mean shit.
Okay, now what I wanted to talk about this, I agree with you actually, to a certain extent, that the value of marriage, but to reiterate back with the whole passport but traditional mindset, I think the one counterpoint I'll put in that I'll actually agree with you on is I've had a few discussions with people, is that cost of living has gone up. Women are naturally working. It makes sense. You need a 2-person household in this day and age. But the problem is a lot of guys come from these countries that and that they're still like, I want my wife to cook and clean, but she's also working 40 hours a week, but you're come home and you don't do anything.
Not true. That's the part that's the part where I would say that they don't get it. They don't get it at all. And also, by the way, you go steal other people's wives, you fuckers. What about those guys who also live in those countries? It's just like me. Sorry, I got just a little bit. I just like a light bulb in my head.
A lot of guys, I've seen it, like especially they'll be like, okay, my wife is working 40 hours a week, but she's like, he's like, when I come home, I get to relax, and she's the one who still has to cook and clean on top of work. Yeah.
So that's the part where they also have to understand that it's not, we are doing all that, yes, but it would be nice if you help instead of go finding someone who will be your damn maid in another country. Just like make it make sense. Their reaction to it is not logical. Yes, they want something traditional, but what they want is just what? They go to work. The woman have been working all day, and plus that, thinking that yes, because she's not going to work, she will be able to take care of him. But the thing is, when he's away, she's also like still making sure the house look as it's supposed to. It's a full-time job. Stay at home is a full fucking time job, but she's not paid for it. She's not paid for it.
I agree.
So,
Any guy.
It's not fair for those women to do all of that. Plus, they come back. They're not even allowed to complain of the fact that they have been very exhausting because they don't have a payable job. Because the only person who can complain is those stupid guys who just keep saying, well, I want a wife who can cook and clean, but when I come after a long day of work, I don't want to hear about anything. She cannot complain that, the oven is broken. She had to fight like 6 hours with a freaking chicken to make it sure that it will be the right temperature when you arrive at home, and then she can give you that damn stupid message on you.
Yeah, I don't think any guy's expecting, though. I think the modern day men.
Those guys who are looking for those passport dude, they're looking for that. They're looking for the one who going to welcome home almost like with that sexy lingerie that kiss their feet, that stinks, and just to do them for no damn reason, cook their meal, and just to be happy that they just exist and say, oh my God, you're the best thing ever. I'm a free slave.
I have seen a lot of people say, though, you know this from being in Africa, that there's guys who will marry a woman in Canada or America, and then they'll go back to Africa and have a wife over there.
Yep.
Do you have an opinion or thought there, or do you think that's some people say that's because Western women have become corrupted, so that's why they have to go and do that?
Well, also the thing is, again, I'll go back to accountability. Men have to just be accountable of the shit they do. You fuck us up, but after that, you're just like, it's our fault that we're so defensive when you're trying to do stuff. We're defensive because of your behavior. You have a wife in 2 different fucking continents at once. Why? What is the need for that? To prove what to who?
I mean, you're from Cameroon, like originally, right? So.
Yep.
Naturally, I don't know. To a certain extent, some guys have said that just a lot of guys are just naturally polygamous, and then
not naturally, it's not natural. It's cultural.
Cultural. I mean, do you think guys, if they had the choice, would want to have multiple wives?
Of course, they will have that because again, ego feeding is all about that. It's just like my ego needs to be fed to say that I am the guy with the biggest balls. It's like that's why a lot of time now that you see in the Manosphere, they use the term alpha male. Alpha in Greek is the first letter. So it's the dominant, it's the one that starts everything. They don't want to be a beta because a beta is soft. They don't want to be a omega. Omega is a bitch. Or even worse, is the one that is the simp. There you go. Yeah. Omega is the simp. Beta is like in between, but omega is the fucking simp. They don't want that. But they don't want to go with the nuance of human beings that, if you call yourself a very cool, normal, mentally stable guy, not thinking that you're entitled because you have been polite, that you have basic human behavior, that you're supposed to have that puss. It's just, for me, it's baffling me. That's why, like, I avoid to watch those Manosphere shit because otherwise I will want to fight them. I meet bologna, macaroni. I will want to punch them in the face if I meet them in real life. I don't care.
Yeah, I just want to point out, like, just for those specific, the one group we're mentioning, that you are ruining our chance to potentially ever collab with them ever again if we ever blow up and they want us.
I don't care. I don't care. They can kiss my butthole. The ugliest part of my butthole, the one with the hair, they can kiss it. I don't care. Them and all the company. Go fuck yourself, because they are not open to any conversation. All they do is just to cultivate a toxic behavior for men, where actually the good one are in there. Unfortunately, they have that bad influence about those two stupid ass face who are ugly as fuck, who think that, yeah, only thing that a woman want is money. No. So you're the dumbest person ever. And by the way, Myron, that's his name, right?
Yeah, Myron. Yeah, that's the guy, the one who always does the talking there from them.
The day that you will stop making fun of people's looks because you are not able to come with actual arguments, is just show how much you're stupid. You are a dumb man. I watch a lot of your videos, and trust me, you're not that smart. You think that you're dumb. You are dumb as dumb. Even a 2 grader is better than you. There you go. I say my piece. Okay, let's go now back to the subject. He will call me erratic, crazy, or I don't make sense, or I'm an angry feminist. I don't have enough dick. Oh, trust me, I have enough, and he's pretty good. He is very good. I can just show one picture of him and all the women that you're trying to get, Fyron, Fit, Fush, whatever sorcery name that you have, and trust me, all those women who want to be with my man. There you go. I say that. I'm in trouble. I don't care. I don't want to collaborate with them, because I'm way better than that. Because see, my approach is not to hurt men. My approach is to kind of make them understand that you can still have the woman if you still be yourself, but don't be a jerk. That's just the difference. You don't need to be a millionaire. You don't need to be the buffest guy, because every woman don't like the beef guy. It's not every woman that are after the men who have the money. It's not every woman that are after the men who have to be the alpha. Shit. And by the way, in the wolf pack, the alpha is the male and female. There are 2 of them. Okay, thank you.
No, I know. Point made. Point made. Okay, it was I enjoyed the rant. It was a nice. Sometimes you have to go off. Tima has her moments. Yeah.
No, you know why I go off? It's not that I find just the message bad. It's just that I feel so bad for the people who are just falling for this shit. I feel for them, because I understand where they come from. They want to be loved. Those guys, not pitiful and that shithead. I'm talking about the unfortunate audience that they have. They want to be loved. They want that, but they think that having a behavior, getting advice from 2 pieces of shit who are not even married, taking advice from them is the worst thing it's the biggest disservice that they do to themselves. And that's why after that, they go after those IG girls and get rejected, because they're not supposed to go after those girls. Nobody's supposed to go after those girls. They're hoes.
You don't think hoes need love too?
Not when they are in their whole phase. Nobody needs love when they're in their whole phase. All they want is just to fuck as much as possible. And after that, when they're done, then their brain come back to normal. And I talk men and women.
No, the thing is, those guys will bring those girls, will talk about those girls. They like having them there, but they'll also say them to their face that they're not wifey material.
Do you think that there would be constructive conversation with those young girls that they are bringing? Because the question that they ask them, they don't even let them elaborate the answer. They will cut them off and start to say, yeah, but I come up with facts. But men have to do this. So that's a fact. No, it's not because you had just being rejected over and over and over again, because you always go after the girls that were out of your fucking league. That mean that, yes, all women are trash. It's the same thing about the women who say all men are trash. All of those does not make sense. So if all women are trash, it means that your sister, if you have one, is trash. It means your mama is trash, your grandma is trash. So in that case, put them all in the same bag. Your mama is a trash. She's a bitch. She's a hoe. There you go. You go with that. Because you will not see me say all men are trash, because the men in my life that I care about, they are not trash. They're not. Some guys will, yeah, you would say that, yeah, you got into some people that you don't align with. It doesn't mean that they're trash for everybody.
Do you agree? Do you agree that modern day feminism is a lot of it turned into hating men, and it's not productive anymore?
The problem is the one who call themselves a feminist are going to a length that it have nothing to do with feminism. Feminism is not about dominating anybody. The true form of feminism is asking for respect and equality. I call myself a feminist because I want you to respect me the way you will respect another man. When I do my job, I want you to acknowledge that I work as hard as you, and you acknowledge that I am doing my job properly. That's what I'm looking for, feminism, where if I do the same job as you, that I have to get the same pay as you. It's not me saying that I'm a feminist and that I am better than you. No, if we are in the equal system there, that's where I go from. That's why most of the time I call myself equalitarian, the feminist.
Yeah, I think the critique, though, I've seen this from men, and they pointed out, they said equal pay for equal work, but they said the reality is women naturally don't want to work dirty jobs. They don't want to work in places where you have to deal with dirty sewage and like you're dealing with like mud and
okay. So that model come always from America. Yeah. We always go with the model of how the U.S. society is built. In Canada, I'm sorry, since I came here, I saw a lot more women working in construction, in oil rig. Yes, maybe why some women will avoid that because they are aware that physically we are not as strong as you. I'm not asking someone to pay me working in the office the same as someone who is working on a freaking construction job. That's not what we mean by equality. It's just that if I want an opportunity, I want you to give that to me the same way that you give that to a dude. Instead of just saying you have to be the servant, you have to be the secretary with a tight skirt that I have to just slap the booty for no reason. Like I am allowed to sexually harass you. That's not what we want. What we want is just that if you respect, I don't know, you'll have your bro there and he do his job properly and you say, yeah, good job, bro. That's what we want too. I don't want you don't need to high five me and give me some stuff or extra. No, just acknowledge what I'm doing and value that equally as you value your male version of it. That's all.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's the definition of feminism. The one that right now, I would say the radical women would maybe need to have an orgasm or two because, my God, they're angry.
Yeah, I guess the same goes for the MGTOW incel guys. I mean, the same thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, those sphere don't understand that we need each other. We do need each other. We work better together. Yes, there's a lot of things that we have to go through history-wise, and all that is hard. It's difficult. That's why, like, anything that is the manosphere pisses me off because all you do is you versus them, and also the female sphere where they're like, oh yeah, if you are doing that, oh you are what is the name? Not simping. For the guy simping for
misogynistic.
Yeah, it's internalized.
Misogyny.
Yeah,
misogyny.
how you internalize that? Where that come from? How you internalize that? Oh, it's patriarchy. Yeah, but for centuries we were fine with patriarchy. We were fine with that because if women did really want those stuff, if it wasn't working that much at their advantage, do you think they would have that rebel a long time ago? But like, you know what? We will all protest and no pussy for you no more. Like every woman agree, no pussy no more. Do you think that men would not be like, you know what? Let me listen to my wife and say what you had to say. It was also working on our benefit. Historically wise, all this arrangement, the patriarchy that they keep screaming about today, the feminists, I'm attacking everybody. I have time today. They're attacking the patriarchy, but the thing is, they also have to acknowledge that women contribute to that. You agree to it. We're just like, oh no, it's not a woman's job. Oh, you do this. Oh no, it's not a woman's role. All that is that. All we do just keep taking stuff from also like the high society and apply that and shove that in the throat of the rest of everybody who have been working for a long time.
I don't know. To a certain extent, I agree with you definitely, but I also want to say there is some nuance to be said that there's naturally a patriarchal, like breakdown of society that just is innate within our species. I mean, you could think about it as from the time of like Neanderthals and
In
First,
every species, it's not
there's
just
like
human.
yeah, well, not every species. I'm sure that there's like lions, for instance. There's a male at the herd, and then there's a woman. I don't know lions. If the lion's the best example, but there's some
Yeah,
species where the women dominate and the men do
yeah.
other stuff.
So for the lion's
Or like
part, I can explain to it a little bit more. So basically, you will still have the main male, the one who will
yeah,
have a different lioness or all that. Do you know which one is goes for the hunt? Is the lioness. She's the one
yeah,
who in control of everything. So it will be more a matriarchal kind of society that they have, even though you have one male who have the most partner. It's just the reason for that is just because he's seen as the best candidate to have the best gene to give you best offsprings. That's why they'll rather be like multiple female being with that one lion. But everything else, when it comes to hunt, the lioness is the one doing that, and also she is extremely strategic. It's not just random for her to say, "Oh, I'm going to kick that," because if you observe, and I have observed them live because, as you know, they were my pets. The male lions, if they are by themselves, they don't have a female mate, they have a higher chance to die of starvation than if it was having at least one female mate. Because they are not able to do what the female is able to do. When they are hunting, the female are more strategic and more patient. They will wait. They will see the herd of zebras and all that. They have a strategy. They communicate with each other on how to attack to at least have one that they have targeted. The male, he will just go with whatever that he sees. It's very structural the way it is. It's very structural, yes, because again, the male dominance in there is the one who will be able to produce the best offspring. And also, by the way, when a lioness is horny and the male doesn't want to give her what she wants, she's gonna go bite his balls because she wants you to fuck her. She will bite your balls. You don't want her, she's gonna find someone else.
I mean, I agree. Okay, lions. That's one example. I mean, you could also put the reverse and say queen bee, and the bees are the males are out there defending the woman. Same idea, but I mean, or with the reverse. But I mean, beyond that, if we're talking like humans specifically, like I think there's Homo erectus, Homo sapien. I had this argument. I had a debate with this guy once before recently, and I was just like, even like Neanderthals. The reality is, for humans specifically, the natural breakdown is a patriarchal breakdown of the family unit, where the man is hunting and the woman is gathering or nurturing the child.
But the thing, so for that one, I agree with you, because the thing is also physiological. Men and women, the way that we are built already, that's where the difference starts from the beginning. You guys are bigger. You have broader shoulders. You can carry heavier stuff. You can move things. You're stronger. That one is the evidence. But I don't like when I see a lot of women kind of like saying that, oh yeah, women can be as strong as a man. I don't think so. And men can be as weak as a woman. I don't think so either. Because that one is like a natural physiological conception that it happened since then. But it's just because now we are in a society where we don't need to hunt and gather anymore, where we try to still redefine what is our role. Instead of... No, go ahead.
I know, but the issue is with I've seen a lot of angry men, and then they've used the approach of like, okay, well, if you don't want to do the things that a traditional wife does, when you have a confrontation and there's someone someone wants to fight you, how about you fight yourself? You fight your own battle. You take the punch. If there's an intruder in the house, how about you be the one who stops the intruder? Like anything that a male traditionally does, if you want to be...
That's the thing. It's just, again, a conversation that have to happen between those two partners. It's not just that, because the angry guys, they will generalize, put every woman like that. Do you think that really nowadays it's just because, again, I notice a pattern. The smaller group will be the loudest one to put their shit out there, always. Because the general consent for those who are kind of mentally sound and would not blame everything on the opposite sex, they are the one. You will be surprised to know how many women actually are more willing to the traditional role But you would not see them just to display that everyone say, oh, I really want to be like your housewife and this and that. No, because that's not a conversation that they have to have with everybody. They just have it with the partner that they are consenting to be with. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I agree. I agree with you fully. I've had this discussion with a few people, but I think the issue is navigating it in this modern day and age. I think I teared it down on the last podcast episode a little bit, where I was just like, listen, there's certain topics, feminism in particular, when you're initially getting to know somebody. I've seen your argument. I've had friends that agree with you. But I personally think that, especially when it comes to these topics, if you're just going to piss somebody off right away, it's better to at least assess how they're going to, what their viewpoint of that is, before just jumping straight into like a feminist, man versus woman debate on the first date. At least don't write yourself off before.
Come from. Yeah.
Because I would argue that a lot of women are even the Western ones that people don't realize are very traditional. It's just that you have to present it in a way that doesn't turn them up. If you're going up and saying, yo, make me a sandwich, no woman is going to put up with that.
Exactly. The thing is, so this one actually, even Abba and Preach, they have talked about it. Shout out to them. We can shout out those guys because at least they have common sense. Where Preach was mentioning that specific part, the example with the sandwich, where it says, sometimes his wife would just be in the kitchen doing something and just make a sandwich for him without him asking. And just, there you go, you have a sandwich. Oh, I figure you may be hungry. Do you want a sandwich? The thing is, this is like the superficial kind of approach of this, and why there's so many of these issues. We are more and more isolated. People spend more time on their screen than anything instead of interacting with other humans. Our generation, like there's studies showing that our generation is the one that interact less with other humans face to face than any others, and is bad. And that's why you see that they don't know how to approach women. That's why they get advice from dumbasses. And also that's why they kind of like think in their mind they have to go in a certain length to have the attention of some of those women that is not even in real life. They know that they would not be able to approach them. The IG girl, they all live in LA. You live in a deep end of, I don't know, one of those weird Sexsmith. I don't know. Weird
Sexsmith? Sexsmith, Alberta? I don't know.
Yeah, Sexsmith, Alberta. Shout out to you guys. That's a fucking weird name. Like you live in a deep shit of like deep hole of Grand Prairie, stuff like that. And then he think that he can get an IG model that live in LA. It's not realistic. People just live now in their full-fledged fantasy online. And also that's the problem. It's just that being online gives them that power of thinking that I can say and do whatever. Because in real life, you would not see them do that. You would not see them do that.
I also want to point out the dudes that are just so obsessed with Instagram models, man, the average woman does not look like them. Even the Instagram model doesn't look like them. So if that's all you're going after,
they don't look like their own pictures because they filter so much. The thing is, when you see in real life attractive women or men or anything, you would not see people approach them and say, yo, that picture's fire. Those like, whoa, those abs. You don't do that in real life. You would just stare at them and be like, damn, they're hot. Oh, if I approach them, they will reject me. In your mind, all the scenario goes there. In real life.
No, there's a very skewed like standard of beauty and like skewed of perception of what attraction is. I mean, that's a whole nother topic that we could probably get into for another day.
Careful with that, because if I put that there, I told you that earlier. You was like, it's subjective. Okay, it's subjective.
No, at first when you came up to me and we were trying to plan for what we were gonna do on this episode today, we didn't really know earlier going into the day. We usually plan like a few days in advance. We usually have an idea of what we're going to do. Yeah. This one, we were sort of like, we didn't come in with a plan. So it was like, we were just shooting the shot. And eventually we settled on this idea and just sort of was like, okay, we can build off this topic.
Yeah.
But that is another topic in and of itself that we could just, I don't know if we could probably dedicate a whole episode to that if we really wanted to be honest.
Well, I think you will be able to. But what I mean is just that I would also kind of like agree with some stuff that my mom told me, that the internet had ruined a lot of people, because you know how accessible it can be. You see just the one thing. It's kind of like you are at sea and then you see an iceberg. You just see the top of it, but you don't see the full thing, right? It's the same thing with what you see online, on Instagram, on the, what is the other thing that you use?
OnlyFans. What do you know?
OnlyFans, Snapchat. Is it people still
Pornhub.
or not just Pornhub, but I mean, like all those things where it's just like a very specific moment that is captured.
I know about Snapchat.
Yes, Snapchat.
TikTok.
That's the one. TikTok. That one.
TikTok. I'm on TikTok now. Shout out to my TikTok. Follow me at BossmanBid. That's my new profile. I'll be yeah. Follow my profile. I actually make content. I'm gonna start making content.
You have to.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Now shout out to my profile. And I want to point out here just something. I'm gonna get a TikTok for this podcast, and we'll start putting clips on there eventually. We don't really have much of a young audience that uses TikTok, so hasn't been really necessary, but eventually TikTok will be the way to go.
That's cool. That's cool, man. But listen, all these things just to create a very color glass type of approach.
And we're back. Welcome to this is the S3Ep podcast without Fatima. Quick shout out to myself. You know, I'm the what this I am the one who makes this podcast entertaining. I'm just joking. You know, but I will say, you know, thank you to all your viewers. You know, we wouldn't be here without you. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah, shout out to you guys to enduring all my ranting about people that I don't care about, like Drake.
Back onto the topic.
Yeah. Did you give all your in Snapchat, Instagram, where people can follow you if you want to grow?
No, I mean, as far as our podcast is concerned, there's the Millennial Podcast. Weird Millennials. Yep, we're on Apple Music. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify.
Yep.
We have. I just think we got to utilize all the
Google
platforms.
Podcast. We are also on Google Podcast. We are on a lot of platforms.
So eventually, you know, it's just growing. You know, eventually we get out there. We're on all the social media platforms. As long as the more you're seen, the more we'll grow, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the more you share. So don't forget to share, like. That would be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And also comment on it. And also be respectful when you comment on it, of course, because you can go crazy angry at me, but the thing is, I can answer you. I would listen. I'm an FBI agent. I can find you. I'm not fighting the other audience right now.
No, it's fine. I personally like trolls, so if you want to troll me, I'm kind of cool with that.
Don't do that. No. We are in a podcast where you respect people. Okay, you troll someone, I will come after you. You troll him, I will destroy your face. Well,
no, but it's entertainment. But I will say that
entertainment, but also about respect.
I will say though that it is strange when you watch some of these because you see people, the audience itself gets so wrapped up in, this person's fighting this person, that. Yeah. You almost forget that the people who you're talking to, the people who you're interviewing, they're actual people. And I think that's really lost in social media nowadays.
That's the part where I want to kind of like come through, because I noticed that with all of this kind of accessibility for those kind of things, it makes also people lose track on the fact that you have to have still that human interaction. Like all those Manosphere, the passport dudes will think that, there's basically, if you want someone submissive, I would just suggest you one thing. Go to Japan, buy that fucking realistic, stupid robot doll. No. Fuck it all day. And after that, put the option of Roomba. It will clean your house. Done. $5,000 well invested, instead of trying to steal women that can be happy with someone who actually want to be with them, not because you will be the maid that they can fuck.
I will say though, did you hear that there was a dude in Japan who actually got married to one of those dolls?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. It's quite sad. It's sad. It's very sad. I
Here's
talked
my
about
thing.
that part in my book, actually. You know that I talked about the how they call it in Japan, herbivore men, meaning
Yeah.
that they are so emasculated that they cannot even approach women at all without having like an anxiety attack or all this kind of thing. I wrote that in my book before all the thing for internet implode even more, before the Instagram became even bigger than it was at the time. Yeah, because when you make the research, you realize that one thing: when you have access to some things, you start to be more demanding. It's like when you go to a buffet, like those food delivery thing. Like for example, you get skip the dishes, right?
Once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Uber Eats, yeah.
Uber Eats, DoorDash, this kind of thing. You look at it, you have so many options. Sometimes you just like, oh, I would like something to eat out. And then after that, you just keep scrolling. You have so much option that after that, you're insensitized of what you really want. It's so accessible. So it's same thing with some people, I would say their approach to women. They think that it should be like that for them. It should work with who I am, but me, I'm not doing any changes. That's why, like, a lot of time when there's like a conversation about relationship online that I'm watching, I'm always like, yeah, you want, but what do you give? It's not just what you want, it's also what you give.
Do you think that social media, I will say this with a lot of apps, because the reality is men swipe right on everything.
Oh,
It is
no.
any woman can go on any app and get 1,000 matches. That's the fact, if we were being honest. So do you think that that gives a lot of people an overstimulation of how many options they actually have? Because I would argue just because a guy swipes right in you doesn't mean he's actually going to marry you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's the case because they will go with always that approach of, yeah, I am doing that, but I want to maximize my chance. It's kind of like saying, it's similar to people who are applying for different jobs, right? You're looking for a job. You don't have a job. That's it. You don't have a job. And you have a resume. The different options and stuff. Right? You were
Yeah, the
talking.
different option, inflated options. Like somebody goes on a lot of apps, they get a lot of matches, but
Yeah,
they don't necessarily have as many options as they think because
exactly.
just somebody is willing to swipe right on you. Or I'll say just because guys will try to bang way below their standards
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean
That they will end up with
yeah
that person. Yeah.
yeah
And that's why I was taking the example with the resume. When you don't have a job, you would just send that everywhere where they are willing to hire you. But it doesn't mean that you want that specific job, right?
yeah I know, but I feel like you're to a certain extent I agree, but you can't really compare it to the apps because at least those guys are actually swiping on you. You engage.
Yeah, but it's also, to me, it's the same thing as if you were applying for jobs. When you don't work and you're desperate for a job, you are
Yeah.
sending that everywhere possible
Yeah.
because you want to have a large pool of options. And you
Yeah.
do the same thing also with your dating. So you swipe right until someone, it would stick some of the time that it would stand out. Oh, there's a match. But it's not needed to be like that. The thing is also, that's very important. Men are not really patient when it comes to those stuff. They're not
That's true.
patient with themselves, and also they don't know exactly what they want. That's why they just go right, maybe left, right. Like, they have to be more selective as women, because the thing is, we have kind of like, this is like everybody's fault, where we have decided that the women have to have a high standard and men have none, and say take whatever comes to you, which is not okay. Men also should build their own standard. Like for example, you do have standard. You want a girl that was religious like you.
Correct.
You want her to be, I would say, well, religious and also conservative, similar to you, like have a similar belief as you. You want her
Yeah.
also to be someone who can have a constructive conversation. You want her to be intelligent. You don't want her to be a dumbass. So that is
That's fair.
good. Men need to build their own standard, but the standard doesn't have to be just physical. It also have to be in between the damn ears. But for that, before building those standards, they have to understand who they are.
But I'll also say that men also need to know where to seek out a partner. I don't think if you're serious about trying to find a wife, if I'm being honest, any guy should be going to Tinder. If I'm being honest, because it's just the platform dictates the usual level of seriousness of the potential options. So if you're serious about looking to get, why would you go to a place that's known for just casual hookups?
It can start up like that. Some people.
I mean, it definitely can start up from Tinder or Bumble, but I said feel like you would increase your chances. Where you meet somebody dictates their perception of how they're going to interact with you. I think to a certain extent.
Because you know what, there was something that I was saying again. That's weird because I mentioned that in my book again. And when I was like coming.
So let's see, what were we talking about here?
We talk about the multiple choices. And me, I was telling that the men, unfortunately, they don't build enough standards for themselves with whatever that throw themselves at him. Because they should. Men should have themselves standards. And
That's
also
true.
be patient.
I think for men, especially when it comes to the apps in general, is that women are the ones who dictate the terms there because men are so desperate and it's quantity over quality. So so it's just their idea is okay, let me get as many as I can get and then I'll filter through the options later and pick from the best of what my choices are.
Yeah. But also the other problem is none of those relationships kick off from the beginning because all those texts that they will have for one another, it would not take them anywhere. They would not even, there's like the chance of everybody that start a conversation like on those dating apps to go on action so low that is insane. If you're even able to go to a first date, it's a miracle.
Where do you suggest people meet people nowadays then if they're not going to use those apps?
I would say it's always like the old thing. Like people that you know are the one who introduce you to people that you could date. Because they know you. They know you as a person, so they will see who they think fit. They will have that kind of objective kind of what will you instead of just she's just attractive. Time as we were talking about until that porn episode, men are very visual, so it will be like, oh, she's hot on one picture, she looked very hot, and he was just swipe right.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely also would say that in general, whether it's men or women, the more things you do in life, like if you have hobbies, you go out, you put yourself out there. You don't just stay in your house because the more people you know, the more likely is you're either going to meet the person you like or you'll know someone who will recommend you to someone who might be a good option. So it's just expanding your social circle, really.
I would just to get back to what Owen said. Just go out, put yourself out there. Talk to anyone. It will build your confidence. It will make you more open. And then when you build that confidence, the thing is that's the energy that you will put out, that you're confident, and it will attract women. Not you being like, women need to be on the leash or whatever shit like that. Will not attract women. Like seriously, guys, go rewatch that episode that we did with Owen. He will tell you clearly the thing that it was normal guys versus pickup artists. That was a very good episode. You have to go watch it because his advice makes sense. Put yourself out there. Be approachable. And when I say approachable, don't be that creepy that it will start to just like stick around just because a person give you a little smile. Move on with your day. You're cool. You haven't, it's okay. As long as you have interacted with other human beings where it makes sense, not in a way where you talk and the person look at you like, are you on crack? That would make more sense. Why you say, Abid?
No, it's just the camera keeps freezing up. So half the time, like you're midway through the point.
Yeah.
And then it freezes. And then I'm just trying to like listen to like, what is she saying?
The only thing I would say that nowadays I'm just worried for a lot of men, and not in a way where I pity them. I find it very sad that they go to that length to find someone,
I
because
am
we are very social creatures, which is an evidence. All of that show that. But it's just really sad that they have to go to this length to find a partner.
I am curious though, like when you as a woman who came from Africa, well, I mean, obviously you grew up in France and then you came here, then you went to Canada. Do you feel more of a connection to the women back home in Africa than you do to the modern day Western women?
No.
So when you hear like in terms of like wifey material, if you have to compare the average woman there to the average woman here, how do they compare as a whole?
As a whole, the only difference is just that the Western woman is more, I would say, have created a space where she have a voice. She can talk. But back home, it's not really still there. Some culture still in my country can be very maternal type, like whereas the woman who's leading everything. Others is still very much dominant onto the man, patriarchal, but I would just say that we are Western women are more vocal. That's the difference. They're very much vocal, but if the same exact right and power to women to those places, then you will find out that your stereotype of the submissive age, and you know you are in a house with an Indian woman, and you know they're strong-minded.
Yeah, they are. But I'll also say that there's some guys who think that if you want a housewife, you need to go back to the village and find a nice girl who can make some roti and chapati with the do what you got to do. There are
but
guys.
Yeah. The thing is, that's like an ideal that they create in their mind of those women, because once they marry them, that's when they realize that, oh shit, she's nuts.
Yeah, she's not. There's no. And the things that you're running from is you'll find that. I personally think the idea there's also a certain amount of myth that you think just because a woman comes from India, a woman comes from Cameroon, a woman comes from, you think she's just all of a sudden going to be your obedient housewife. Women. No. It's a modern day world. Women are pretty much all on the same platform across the world.
Like you said, it's not because you will go to a different country that culturally speaking is more acceptable for the woman to be submissive. That means that will be the case. Jeez. Oh no, it's good. And that again go with the stereotype. It go mainly with the stereotype that have been built up to all those women of those Oriental countries are more submissive than the Westerner woman, that they're more tameable, which is not true.
I will say there's a portion of men who I don't fall into that category. I don't mind a woman who's working. I don't mind a woman who's making more than me. I'll go as far as to say that. It's no big deal. I bring more to the table than just money.
Exactly.
But for the guys that really want that traditional submissive housewife, whatever, do you think they're better suited going abroad?
No.
Really?
No, because you know what? Again, it's like a Kinder Surprise. From the outside, look nice. It's chocolatey, it's good, and then surprise is messed up. That's the thing that they don't understand. Those women will play that role at first until they will unravel. Like most of the time, those women will see those men as a way to get out of where they're stuck.
Yeah. It is a fact, like from an immigration perspective, like Canadian government, I work for the feds. The absolute easiest way to get into Canada is by marrying a citizen of the country because you'll get automatic permanent residency as soon as you.
And also have their child. There you go.
Yeah.
But it's still not like, it's just, again, it's very sad that the guys have to go to that length. But again, their problem is they have a stereotype in their mind that this is the approach that they have to go with to get a woman. But They don't consider also if the women will want them for who they are, the person that they are. That's why you see that the rate of divorce of those type of marriage is very high. The two first years, you understand that the person show how they behave. Because you also have to know the person. Don't just go marry someone just because, yeah, they will fit your perception of how a woman can be. They're also human. Otherwise, again, this is a very good suggestion. Go to Japan and build your wife. She will be a robot, but you will still be able to have what you want. Because she will be programmed to your needs. But the thing is, things are more complex.
I mean, unless you want to reproduce, then you can't really. But I mean, beyond that.
Yeah, there's a something billion people on this planet. Do you need to have more idiots? No, thank you.
I mean, I feel like naturally people want to have kids. So if you want to have kids, it's okay. I'm not gonna push that on them. I will say though, it's a different world. As far as India, I could speak on India. I believe the divorce rate is lower, generally, as we touched on, because of honor, and because I've seen people with loveless marriages where the guy sleeps in a different room as the wife, but he's like, okay, well, the kids will be worse off if we're not together, so we'll just stay together. And I've seen a lot of them like that.
That's not productive. It's not productive. And also, how do you want to build a healthy mindset to your child if you show them that as an example?
I guess they allowed
to be in a loveless marriage than being in a marriage where there's actual love and growth.
I don't know. I mean, I'll speak this as a child of divorce. When I see those parents, to a certain extent, I kind of respect it because I'm like, yeah, they don't like each other, but at least they're like, okay, I'm on my marriage, the love isn't there anymore, but I'll stay together for the sake of the children. So I'll live for something bigger than myself. So, and on that level, I can kind of respect it.
No, for that part, that's the only the one of the rare time that I'm just like, you have to be selfish a little bit. Because what you're doing, listen to what I would say on this part. What you're doing is just to say that you have to endure everything that is thrown at you. That happiness is not something that it's kind of like it's saying that, yeah, happiness, you would not deserve it. You have just to stay there just for the sake of others. But it's also good to, if a kid see their parent happy, guess what they will do? They will reproduce also their own happiness and that pattern and reproduce that, because all you do is just to pass down a bad habit and say that you're not happy in there, you're stuck in there, you stay there. No, it's not productive. This is how you create trauma and also weird bias about relationship, that you have to suffer with someone. But the sufferance is not something that is not out of your control. It's in your control, but you choose to remain in that suffering.
I guess I kind of admire it in the sense that, like, you could say, they say that children may force somebody to grow up, right? So if a woman is like an 18 years old and she's a partier, then all of a sudden she finds out she's pregnant. If she decides to keep the kid, she's going to be forced to grow up because she now has to take on a role that she was never expecting. So they said, sometimes your role.
You talk about someone who choose to keep the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're forced to grow up. And I think to a certain extent with marriage, if you're willing to stay for the sake of your kids,
it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing, because remember that the human that you're making, you try to mold them to be the best version of what you were. Because let's be honest, that's what we all do. We want our children to be the better version than us. You don't want to pass down this kind of trauma. Because the thing is, this is me just saying to you as a friend, and also being very honest. You and I, we come from culture where we don't express any of our emotions.
That's true.
Because you can say that it's better to stay in a loveless marriage, but if you take the time to have conversation with people who have been stuck into a loveless marriage, your heart will break, because you will understand that they are telling you that I should have leave, and because all I have done there, thinking that, yeah, I was doing that for the good of my kids, but it didn't get any good for them. That's where the problem will still complete to come from, because people don't realize that sometimes your selfishness is saving someone else. You can be in a loveless marriage where the person is respectful, all that, but you also have to get in that scenario where your child can be in a loveless marriage, but also get beaten, but they have to endure. Why? Honor.
Do you agree that life and marriage and relationships in general is not always about being happy?
No.
So that's where a certain extent I give a little bit of respect to that idea of staying together for the sake of your kids, because you're saying, okay, I'm not happy, my partner, but we're gonna try to make it work because we're living for something bigger than ourselves. We want our kids to grow up in a household where they see both their mom and their dad.
No, you want also to have a household where your children grow up to see loving partners. Not those who are forced to be there. You know why? Because the children will think, because of me, those two people are stuck together. You don't want to create this kind of trauma in your mind. You don't want to create that for your child. You don't want them to think, because of me, my parents, if I wasn't there, my parents would have been happier. You don't want to create this kind of like trauma.
I mean, children don't question why they were born.
Oh, yes, they do. They will. Maybe at first they don't, but at one point they will. If they are able to have conversation with their parents and they ask to their parent or mom, dad, if you had the opportunity to leave that, would you do that? And if they tell you yes, that they will have done that without hesitation, then in your mind you will be like, so all these years, she could have been free, happy with someone that will value her for who she is, very much loving her. But she decided to stay stuck in this just for me. You will blame yourself. You don't want to do that to a kid. You don't want them to blame themselves on the reason why their parents are together. Because normally, the thing is, you can be in a relationship regardless of the children or not. And if you're happy that because at one point, those kids will grow up and leave. They will grow up.
I know, but I would agree in the same sense that, let's say you had a dad and he worked a job he hated and you knew he hated his job, but he came back and he did it every day because he knew he had to put food on the table. I would say I respect that guy more than any deadbeat, because he's doing something he doesn't like because he's living for something bigger than himself. And that's mindset I would have.
Yeah, your mindset is a little bit different in a practical sense for that one, for the job. But you're comparing two different things. It's like comparing oil and water. It doesn't make sense what you're saying here. Because the dad, he is paid for what he is doing. He can leave at any time. That's a choice. And say that, okay, it's a shitty job. I still do it because I need to put food on the table. It's also for his own survival. But you don't have to be fully committed to your work, to a job. You don't have to be committed. It would not affect your kids on the long term and thinking that because of that, and then he was stuck there. Because again, regardless, if you remove the children, he's married, he do a shitty job that he hates, but his relationship with his partner is all worth it. Do you think that the partner would let them go be miserable? No. They will encourage them to find something that make them happy. Yeah, because when you're happy, you're more productive.
But is marriage always about love and happiness, though?
Marriage is about a lot of different components, and love and happiness is very much a main of it.
Yeah, but it does not involve
human reaction and human, I would say, goal in life is about to be loved. And also about legacy. That's another part, but that's mainly like the men. But love is one of the main reasons why humans are here.
I think people want love.
I want to believe that, because again, if I talk about this specific part, it will make this episode very dark about my history. But we will talk about that one day. But I'm not ready to share that with people yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is all getting broadcasted, so I said always pick and choose what we're gonna share to the.
I know, but I don't want to just like mention it right now, because I think that it will be a good episode to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. people don't realize it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out on the internet and platforms
Oh,
yourself,
yeah.
and you're making yourself vulnerable. Because what I realized, because I've shared episodes to other people just to see what they think,
Hmm.
and then people will tell me, "Wow, you shared a lot of stuff," and I realized that you're making yourself open to being judged. But I mean, that comes with
Mhm.
doing anything on social media. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
But also, you know what? That's also going to go back to the point that we were having earlier. It's about that those men don't want to be vulnerable. They feel like they don't want to invest enough of their time to then being heartbroken. That's why when that other time you asked me if you say that yeah, women are more emotional than men, and I say that I disagree, because that's the case here. Men are very much vulnerable, but they don't articulate it. They don't also take the time to express, to kind of like figure out what makes them feel that way. They're just like, yeah, it is what it is. I'll just go and move on. I'm not telling everybody, yeah, go get the therapy, but maybe you need to. So then you stop thinking that we're just like a replaceable object, the submissive that have to suck your dick all day when you come back from work. Thank you very much. TikTok done. So
No, I definitely agree with a lot of that on this point, especially with those guys. I mean, I understand why those guys will go to Africa or go to India.
I would
Because I
like to
mean,
talk to each of those guys and then make them understand that they already have it in front of them, but they don't look hard enough. There's, for them going to other country, other continents, that is just the easy way out. The easy way out, but also it will be a temporal fix, because after that, they will realize that maybe they don't have much in common with the person. Not culturally speaking, I'm talking about like interest, a lot of things. They will just realize that, wait a second, I fooled myself. I don't want that. And that's why you see also like a lot of people, after they got what they want, divorce happen.
yeah, I'll say a lot of those guys make the trap of mistake of thinking that it's like, I come to these countries as a high value male because I have my
They have the
Canadian
white
passport.
men complex. The
I have a
white,
Canadian.
the Western kind of like high horse. I am a god.
I got a
You,
Western passport.
yeah, I have a Western passport. And also, even worse, I noticed that in that manosphere, there's a lot of white men. It's just like they have the white savior complex. Even though they're not white, they have that complex. I am the savior. I am the one. She will see me like the knight in shiny armor. That's the thing there. The main thing, knight in shiny armor. She will just kiss my ass all day. That's what they're looking for. Instead of being like, wait a second. If I'm single here, there's a specific reason. Maybe I don't treat my partner right. Maybe I'm not making enough effort to listen to what they're saying. Maybe I just take them for granted and think that, yeah, they just have to do my laundry and stuff.
And I'll speak for this because my brother had an arranged marriage, and I'll be honest, this is a good time to expose it. Like, the girl came here, he sponsored her. Fatima knows the story, and she was here for 13 days. She got the PR. She bounced. She got that, and she was done. And
Yep.
the worst thing you can feel as a man, because we think like monetary value. We think we're investing all this time to get married, that this is going to be the end result. The worst thing to feel at the end of it is that you just got played. So
Yeah.
I would like to say, I'm not saying don't do it. I think there are a lot of good women from these
Yeah.
places back. But I would say, if you think that just because you're going to get, don't think you're just going to get the perfect woman simply just because you're going to Africa or India or Thailand, or women are women regardless, and you have to be a decent person no matter where you are in the world.
The thing is, the men are the player, but the women know now how to read the playbook. So they know how to do it. Those women out of those country, and I'm telling you that because I have those women in my family, the one who can make you believe that she will be submissive. Oh, honey child, no, she would not. The first 2 years she will be. Oh yeah, she will pretend until she have that card where she can vanish. Because she always find a way to investigate. Even the one who come from those tiny village. iPhone is everywhere, man. They can do their research. They're not that dumb. Stop thinking that. Stop thinking that they would just like, yeah, they are willing to marry you. You are just like their ticket to freedom. Most of you, I would say 99.9% of you are the ticket to freedom.
I mean, I think I want to point out that it's not just men. It goes both ways. I've seen it with like, I don't know, stereotype. I've seen a lot of, I know some young Nigerian guys trying to go after some middle-aged white American women.
It's not just the Nigerian, it's African boys.
Yeah. And they're
They're
like
all in there.
It's some weird thing that I've seen a lot of Indian guys too, both African and they're like, oh my God, this white woman. Why are you put white women like there's such a prize? Like, come on, bro. It's just weird. Maybe that's a Western colonialized mindset that it's a prize that you got a white woman. White women are the same as.
But also for them, again, there's this thing of like, if I can get what is most precious to white men is his woman, I would do it. That's basically the mindset. So, and the only thing that I would say that is dishonorable for them is just that they have the audacity to have a double standard where they will go with, but if you're a black woman and you're with a white man, even though it have nothing to do with their own shenanigans, they will shame you for that.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen guys say, "Okay, well, why? Oh, you don't want to hate your community."
Cannot find a good black man. Do you know how many times I heard that? Oh, you can find a good black man, and that's why you go with the white, and they have a tiny dick. I'm just like, dude, you have no idea. You know nothing.
Or you're a traitor to the black community. You don't like.
Listen, I don't care. I'm a Judas to black people. I don't give a shit. My man look white, but he's not. But I don't care. The thing is, I'm attracted to what I find attractive. That's all. And it happens a lot that is not a black man. I don't know. Thank you. I don't find you guys that attractive. And even in my list of celebrity in my head that I can bang, there's a lot of black men. There's Michael B. Jordan. Hello.
Shout out to Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, shout out to him and Creed. My God, dude. Whew. Chadwick Boseman. May he rest in peace. The best. I have a list. Well, a lot of black men are like in there, but in real life, I'm realistic. I know that I would not be able to the type of woman that they will look after. Maybe, who knows? Miracle can happen. Michael B. Jordan can find me attractive and be like, okay, yeah, we do this.
Yeah, that's another topic. I've seen like black guys talk about how much they hate black women and stuff like that, and it always comes from the men over the women. I noticed that.
I would say self-hatred. It's just because for them, they expect us to wait for them. When they finish to have all those mixed babies when we're in our solid 50s, because they know that we will still take care of them. But there's self-hatred in there. It's nothing to do with black women. For those black women who are after the black man and they don't understand why they don't want you, wait and get to yourself a white man. Then suddenly they will all start to be mad that you got a white man. Same also for Indian women, I would say.
Yeah.
Indian woman, any minority, as long that you start to date a white man. I think it's very specific because other races they don't care much, but if it's like a white man, holy shit, this is the end. For them, it's not okay.
No, I'm not sure if it's. I think they'll put up with the white man because a white man is seen as the prize because the British controlled India. I will say this is another topic we could talk about. India has some self-hatred of like black people are the lowest of the low or something. I don't know.
Every place that European have colonized, people have self-hatred. It's so deep and rooted. It's insane. I look the way I look because my grandma was very light-skinned. Well, she was mixed. And at the time when her mom got with my grandfather, people were insulting her, saying that she was a white a whore. They were calling her names just because she decided to not fall for that damn stupid thing and said that, yeah, I will just get myself with a black dude for no damn reason. The two hit it off, but for them, there's like this kind of like status of like, how dare you? And also they will ridicule the white man for dating down a black woman. I was like, oh, seriously, you cannot even have one of your own? But you dumb, do you think that the white girl that you fucking, she's proud of having you? No.
Do you think that I've seen black men say that black women insult black men, and they say that And it goes both ways.
No. Black women are just tired of taking their shit. That's all. I am one of them that I've been told that I have insulted a lot of black men. I don't know how I insult a black man because I don't want to date you. I don't know how it's insulting when I say that I am not interested because I don't vibe with you like that. I don't see where it's insulting when if you see me with my man holding hands and you look at me like I'm a worse piece of shit, but when I was single, I was not worth your time. I
Yeah,
don't
I've
see where it's insulting when you, black men, will have like a good body, decide to be with a very obese white woman and think that she's way better than me, was fit just because she's white.
That's true. I mean, I've seen it with a lot of guys in different cultures, and like, I've had white friends who've been with black women, who've been with black women. They'll tell me that like black guys will come up to them and say, "Why are you with our women?"
Yeah.
Like, is it
Like
you're not anybody's property, you know? Any
properties, yeah, they behave like that. Like, yeah, it's property, and also the worst part, they will. And the worst part, again, this is the when I was single, I will tell you, I was on those dating sites. No black man will swipe right for me. Like maybe
Really?
2 or 3. Oh yeah. The one that will always swipe right for me are white guys. And I had that conversation with one of my friends. Shout out to T. And she was just like telling me, I have the body that the white guys like. I'm just like, but what about the black dude? I'm not their type, but they're pissed off that a white guy will find me attractive. At
Yeah.
the time on my Tinder, Hinge, all those kind of dating site, I would say that my inbox was just filled with a lot of white men. A lot of them. A lot. Like I
Yeah,
would say 97% of that.
yeah. I noticed some black guys like BBW or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Yeah.
is that just a type thing?
It's not a type, it's a fetish. It's different. It's a fetish. It's true. Listen, when I was a teenager, my crush was more catered to black guys. The rejection that I got, man, it hurt because it's something that I cannot control. I cannot gain weight that easy. I was too skinny. I didn't have an ass. I don't have a boobs. They were saying that. And also they say that they didn't like my hair, which makes no sense. And after that, they will go to my white friends. I was just like, oh, maybe he just like her. No, he would purposely, that guy would purposely just date white girls. And after that, there was another one that I really like. He was like my longest crush at the time. And he would discourage everybody behind me to not date me. But when I was trying to get him to date me, he would say, oh, I have to focus on this and that, like a lot of things. And then there was that mixed girl who thought that she was better than me because she have a like nicer hair texture, will have a better chance with him. And he also like gonna like send her off and say like, no. All of his guy friend came to me later on and admitted that he told us to back off when it comes to you. We were all after you, but he told us to back off because you were his. I was like, nobody heckling me. I didn't allow that shit. I didn't allow it. And he got mad at me because one of his friends, who is white, dark hair with very beautiful blue eyes, had a big crush on my ass. He was mad. He decided to not talk to me for a year because I was dating that guy. I was just like, well, at least this guy is giving me the opportunity. He's not finding excuses. He said that I find you attractive. I like you. You're funny. I want to date you. Done. I mean, it's just that this situation with black men, I don't have the energy to entertain or to have a conversation with them because their own self-hatred is their problem. It's not mine. Me, I can tell you a list of the different nationality that I was attracted to. I was attracted to a white dude, blonde blue eyes. I was attracted to a Vietnamese dude who played basketball. His name was Johnny. He have like crazy cute dimples. I got attracted to a guy coming from Madagascar. I got attracted to a guy coming from my country. I got attracted for this guy who was from my country. Like different places on the planet.
Not
I
Indians.
crush. No, I did.
Just-
Actually, I did. I didn't mention that, but I did. I had a crush on that guy. He was very cute. He looked like one of those Indian actors. I was just like, my God, he's very cute. He didn't want me.
Yeah, but it's like you never felt like you were particular. I mean, you have a type, but you wouldn't say you were like excluding races. Like you're like whoever
I
you
did
like. You
not
like.
exclude anybody. As long that I was finding the guy attractive, I didn't care. He can be a Martian. I didn't care. He was cute to me. That's how it worked for me. My attraction go like that. And weirdly, like more time went by, my attraction to men have been more like catered onto mixed guys, not Drake. But it happened. Listen, even my dude right now, the thing is, he's mixed, but he doesn't look mixed. You look at him, you're like, he look a little bit Latino-ish. And when he said that, yeah, he's black, I was just like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You're not. It just happened. And a lot of time it's just like how it goes. You just happen to be attracted to some people. I can see some black men that are happening to be attracted to a woman that is not black. It happened, but he doesn't hate black women.
You know what's weird? Whenever you described him, I always pictured a white guy. So I just knew you're. And turns out he's not completely white.
Let me show you that. I would edit that part out because I don't want people to see his face. And I didn't know. When I met him, I was just like, okay, he's not black.
Latino, maybe.
Yeah, Arab. I was
Arab.
thinking that maybe he have like some Latino-ish, like something season.
Yeah.
But I didn't picture black. When he said that day, me and my friend, we almost like got into an accident because we were in the car. I was like, wait, what? You black where? I was like, nah, you know. But yeah, it's just that people, especially black men, this is now what I cater to them because this kind of thing with the race dating and stuff, stop hating on black women or stop playing with us. If you like us, just show it. Don't wait until we are 60 and then decide that you want to be with us. So many black women are like willing to take even the worst piece of shit black men just because she wants to show that she is for the blacks. That sounds weird to say that like that.
Do you think that some black women feel like, okay, I need to be with a melanated guy, otherwise I'll get shamed by other black.
Yeah, I think that some black women are like that, and luckily for them, I'm not one of them. So you're welcome, people. I am saving you a lot of time of energy. I am not, because I find it ridiculous that yes, you can date out of your race. We should make an episode about that, dating out of race and stuff.
I know all about that.
Oh yeah, you have been doing that, right?
Yeah, for most of them. I don't. And the thing is, people. You know what the thing about that is? People think I hate my own. I don't hate my own race.
That's the thing. It's just that people have to understand that it's not about hatred. Yeah, go to somewhere where there's more like you're getting darker than me now.
I know. I might need to start with the skin bleaching. Gotta get lighter.
Oh hell no! Don't do that shit.
It's a joke.
It's a shame. Yeah, better. No, it's just that's the thing. It's not
Give
because
me 1 second here. I'm gonna get some light.
Ooh, magic.
Get some light in here. Okay, better.
Yep, better.
Okay, continue.
It's not because you date. This is a message very important to a lot of people. It's not because you're dating out of your race that is mean that you hate your own people. And you don't have to belay that also people from where you're from because you're dating a white man or whatever, or white woman or whatever. It's not because you're dating out of your race that is always a bad thing. And also you don't need to degrade your own race for that. This is me saying that to the black men because they are the specialists of that. They date a white woman, but they would denigrate the black woman. And I don't like that. I don't find it fair because you're insulting also your mom and your sisters.
I mean, I've met friends who've told me they're like, oh, well, someone from my group will understand me the best. And I respect that. He's like, I can pass down my culture the best. I can be sure that my kid will appreciate my culture the most. There might be a conflict if you marry someone else and there'll be a mixture of two cultures. I can understand, to a certain extent, like why, if you that's what you really value, then go and find somebody from your own culture. But I think that life's too short to just
fine.
Whoever you connect with is who you connect with. That's just always been my take.
Exactly. I think it's just that that's the point that we agree on. But passport dudes, this is a message personally for you. This is at the time when I was on those dating sites. I will tell you why a lot of those white men was coming to me, because they were thinking on those pictures that I was the submissive type, quiet one, and all that. But the truth is, what they pretend to be online is not the real person that they are. The women that make you think that they are submissive, whichever, that's Indian, Chinese, Vietnamese, African, not Latina, because they have the reputation to be spicy Latina, but they also are some of those women who are pretty quiet, or Eastern European, those ones.
Okay.
All of them. They can make you believe that because they know what is the end goal. That fucking passport.
Can I also present? There's a lot of guys. This is just a side topic here. The guys who are going for different. I said it's usually older white guys who do this, like calling people like nobody's exotic. Can you just stop using that? I hate that.
I'm not a fruit, okay? Stop calling us exotic. We are not a fucking fruit. We are not food. We are human beings.
I hate that term so much.
It's not just you. Oh, you're having an exotic accent. When they say that, I stop dead and I'm just like, I just have an accent. Don't go with that word. Why? Do I look like something that you eat or an animal? That's the problem. It's just that they always go back to that kind of like very, how you call that again?
Objectifying?
Yeah, objectifying. And also the unconscious racism.
Subconscious.
Yeah, that part where there was always going back to it and be like, yeah, you kind of like you people, savage, all that. When they say you people, you want just to kick them and being savage and all that. Oh, your woman is submissive. It's just because culturally speaking, we're different.
So I mean, that's a whole nother chart. But I mean, I think we came to an agreement on the passport, where they come from, why they do what they do. I think what I would advise is, if you really want to do that in general, the women you're going to get aren't always going to be what you expect them to be. But if you really want it, you probably could find somebody. But if that's all you're bringing to the table as a guy, the fact you have a passport, don't anticipate it lasting. That's all.
It won't. Or you will be like some people that I have dealt with my work, and they will have 5 of them, and it happened a lot, which is sad. He had a couple, like every 2 years you will see that it's a divorce, separation. I was shocked. And he was like, oh yeah, I want to add my new wife. It's just that you repeat a pattern and you're not even questioning yourself. What am I doing so wrong to keep getting this? If you want something like traditional, trust it. There are a lot of women here that looking for it. But it's just that you choose to be lazy and think and go with your stereotype, which is far from the truth. You will see that sometimes you go pick up that woman, she will come home and she's the one beat you up.
That's true.
So,
so I mean, man, that's a big topic. I mean, I think we covered most of it as far as like the idea of it. Any other final thoughts you want to add to the idea of a passport, bro?
If you want to go for it, try to get a woman. No, not a woman. But if you want to go for the passport thingy, I would suggest that someone who come from that culture. They will be your best guide. If you really want to get something like that, get someone who come from that culture, who have that background, who will be able to explain to you how that shit work. So then you would not get screwed by those who are pretending, and then get the real woman. So then you will stop being bitter about us. And also,
well, I mean, I won't take it there. I understand why you're gonna do it, but I would say any dude who wants to do that, it's not what it's cracked up to be. And I think if you think that these women are gonna be that submissive, you're gonna find it that all women across the world have similar mindsets, and you're trying to build an image that might not actually exist.
Yeah.
So just find who you're collected with, just be a decent person, respect people. And odds are, eventually, if you're a good person, I think good people naturally attract good people. So focus on that. And eventually, if you work on yourself, you'll probably find someone good. That's
exactly. Yeah, no, that's a good advice that you give there. That's actually excellent, because I was about to say, yeah, you need to fix your shit first. Stop just to like thinking that everything that is you see online as an example is actually what a woman is not true. Just to make the effort, work on yourself. You will find something, like Abid said. So we got that.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, so I think this is the end of the podcast. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for listening. This is Abid Syed. This is FK Alden. Bid signing out. Boom.